Chicago, and the Wizards, who had the worst record in the NBA this season, got the first ping pong ball, meaning they will have the first overall pick in next month's NBA draft. The Jazz, Grizzlies, and Bulls followed Washington for the top 4 picks. Then after the lottery, ESPN's Jeremy Woo released his latest mock for the 2026 NBA draft, with each of the top 10 picks being freshmen, headlined by BYU's A.J. Dibonza going first overall to the Washington Wizards. Now remember, the Wizards traded for Anthony Davis, and they also traded for Trae Young during the season. Now perhaps they will add a young talent in A.J. Dibonza. But how should A.J. feel about possibly going to the Wizards? Jay, you were in Chicago yesterday. What do you think?
I say I'll be quick on it. If you could have watched his face, frankly, when that pick came up, when Utah came up with number 2, it was almost like he took a really deep breath. Right now, look, AJ's going to be he's a first-class individual. He'll handle any situation. It's interesting to think about what the Wizards will decide to do with a guy like Anthony Davis, or decide to go younger and build around Trae and AJ. But to me, it felt like everything with Ryan Smith and everything Utah had done was to procure that first pick in the NBA draft. So I think it was a deep exhale for A.J. Dibonza in D.C.
Go ahead,
Go,
Steven.
Perk.
Oh, okay, Perk, go ahead.
I'm trying to understand what the hell is wrong with playing in Washington, D.C. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I understand they have not been good for a long time, but last time I checked, I thought Washington, D.C. was a big market. I thought that's a market where you could go and make the best of it and capitalize on and off the floor. And when you think about adding him with Trae Young and Anthony Davis, then we're looking at a situation where he's walking right on in, right into the playoffs, in my opinion. That's how good he is, and that's how much he'll complement those two guys. So again, I don't see why he's disappointed. I would be excited about bringing chocolate back to Chocolate City. I just don't understand that part. I know he wants to be in Utah, but damn it, I wouldn't be disappointed. D.C. is a big market. He could take over that market and capitalize in great fashion.
Perk, I hear what you're saying. Listen, man, I looked at this and I felt sorry for him. I've interviewed A.J. Dibonza 3 times. He came on First Take and announced that he was going to BYU right here on this show. We got a lot of love for him, a lot of appreciation for him, and his daddy, by the way, who's a wonderful guy, and his family. The Washington Wizards have lost 64 games at least over the last 3 years. They are a basketball abomination. The only reason we don't take time to insult them more is because of the stench emanating out of the nation's capital for stuff other than basketball. That's the only reason. If it was not for that, we'd be focused on them. They are horrible. And so when I look at him, I know that he can play, but do you really believe in the word culture and growth and development when it comes to what's going on in the nation's capital? I'm not saying they don't have some players. Because I know they do. I just don't believe in them organizationally. That's my issue. That's it.
I do because I watch both of those guys who's running the front office, Winger, and I can't remember my guy's name off the top of my head, but both of those guys came from under the Sam Presti tree. So you damn right I can see it. The head coach over there, Brian Keefe, come from the Sam Presti tree. They just haven't had the talent.
I defer to you.
So you pair them with what they got in Trae Johnson, they gonna have smoke.
I said we got you. I'll flow with you. We got to go to commercial.
All right, we got to go to commercial.
Because I think it's important to fans in a lot of cities where your teams might not have been good. Yesterday, the draft lottery, the Wizards walked away with the number 1 pick. First time in 8 years that the team with the worst record actually won the lottery. They now have a prime opportunity in a deep draft to find a franchise piece. Right now, they have Anthony Davis and Trae Young on their roster. As for the rest of the top 10, the Jazz jumped up 2 spots to get the number 2 pick. The Pacers saw their pick go to the Clippers as a result of the Ivica Zubac trade. So there was a lot to digest yesterday. And I know that if you're a fan, you have heard many people say over the course of the last few weeks, this is an incredibly good draft. This is one of the best and deepest drafts we've seen in recent years. You might not intimately know the name. So, Jay, quickly, who are the 5 best players who will get drafted at the end of next month?
All right, so let's go number 1 with the Washington Wizards. I think the Washington Wizards will select A.J. DeBonsa. It reminds me a lot of T-Mac with the way he can play on the perimeter. And think about the likes of A.J. DeBonsa with Trae Young. I do see Anthony Davis potentially being moved for more assets and them leaning into the youth that they have ultimately with their team. Number 2, as you get into the next round here for the Utah Jazz, with their size, Lauri Markkanen, Jared Jackson, Walter Kessler, Keontae George, who's a beast. I see them taking Darren Peterson. He's a guy that can be up on the wing. He's an elite shooter, can play without the basketball, fits in with them perfectly. Number 3, when you think about the Memphis Grizzlies, they have Zach Edey. Look, Caleb Wilson to me, in 10 years, when we redraft this class, we could be talking about he should have been the first pick taken in this draft. I think his upside is limitless. He's a guy that can show he can play with the basketball, put the ball down the ground, and that shot-making ability is what's going to propel him in the draft. The Chicago Bulls, Cameron Boozer. You watched it over and over and over this season. Kind of plays like Şengün to a degree, or a Kevin Love player, has different angles of attack at the rim, can initiate the offense because of his passing ability, their ability to invert the offense. He's going to be an exceptional player. And then the Clippers, poor Indiana, does not get the 4th pick.
Right.
The Clippers get the 5th pick because of that trade. Darius Acuff. I look at the Clippers with a guy like Darius Acuff who can explode. Reminds me of Stephon Marbury with the way he plays. I think the Clippers take him. I think the Clippers ultimately trade their star player at the end of the day.
Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard, to get pieces in return.
That'd be interesting to watch.
He played well last year. Trade him with the highest value you have.
You already answered the question I was going to ask, which is, out of all these guys, which one do you think in the long run has the potential to be the best? And you said you think it's the kid from Carolina.
Caleb Wilson, watching him work out, has shown the ability to put the ball down on the ground. And by the way, when I first saw him this year, I was like, oh, the bar is Jermaine O'Neal. The ceiling, Kevin Garnett. Now when I watch him play, I'm like, the bar seems like Kevin Garnett. The ceiling seems more like Giannis.
Wow.
It feels like that's where his ceiling could be.
Well, as someone from North Carolina once said, the ceiling is the roof.
The ceiling is...
They've won 7 straight games in that building. And when he looks up, there's 2 banners, Villanova championships. Those are the most recent banners hung in that building.
Yeah.
So that's home for him, first of all, and Josh Hart.
and
Mikal Bridges.
Low blow. It's more their home court than it is their home court.
But they do feel that way.
Yes.
And the other thing to point out here, too, in Philadelphia, you know what? It's not about their fans. This is not, I don't think this is about the Philadelphia fans or a sports town. They're a great sports town. This is them saying, we don't believe in this.
Yes,
I said a couple of years ago, the process is dead. Nobody wanted to believe me. It's dead. And the fans told them that. They applied, like you mentioned how the fans
they showed up for the Flyers when they got swept by the Hurricanes. They gave them a standing ovation.
And the fan base in that city looks at the Sixers as if, no, we're not coming back until you show us something that we can truly believe in. Because second round and out, that's an annual event for that franchise.
And it is not obvious to see their path to getting better quickly. Joel Embiid has a contract extension that actually kicks in next year, i.e. it hasn't started yet. So 3 more years. Maxey is very highly paid. Paul George is very highly paid. We're going to talk more about this series in a couple of minutes, but the path back for the Sixers is not an obvious, it doesn't seem like a straight line to me.
It's not. I mean, you really got to look in the wallet and see where the purse strings are. If you wanted to go optimistic, just go with me, y'all.
Yeah.
Don't look at me like that, Jay. Just come on. Play the game.
Go optimistic.
If you wanted to go optimistic, is Joel Embiid getting to a place where he can be on the floor, right? You know you have Tyrese Maxey. You know you have VJ Edgecombe. While the last round is abysmal for them, they did. Can you get some cheap pieces to build around the edges, I guess is my question.
We're going to finish up the show with this. Save this. We're going to do this.
church.
We're going to do this to finish up the show. But we haven't gotten one thing in on the